Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the end of New York session. Mohawk Forex Trading Group, true scalpers, 3-minute time frames, in and out, quick trades, loads of pips, loads of money. That's what we're looking for, in and out before anybody else has even had chance to analyze a setup. That's what we're all about. We've got about 25 minutes till the end of the US session, at which point you've got the one of our favorite news events of the week, the API, the American Petroleum Institute crude oil stock changes, in which we go the way of the news with the oil, and if you want to trade the US dollar, you go the opposite way. So we're looking at a drop from 3 million barrels to 2.6. We'll see if that's better or worse than expected to trade that. It'll be a slow moving one, but it mostly hits target most of the time, so it's a nice little end of session trade right on the closing bell. So we've got oil set up here in our 3 minutes. Obviously this is our Axe trading system, and as always, if you want more information on how to gain access to this, how to be mentored in how to use it and how to trade fundamentals, what we do, then go to www.mohawkforex.com, and all the information is on there and in the description and the YouTube channel below. And obviously give us a like, subscribe and share, as we'll do more and more live streams to try and get people trading true scalping, so you spend less time trading, more time counting your money. That's what we're all about. And takes practice, takes a lot of sitting on the hands, but you can do it. Like anything, it's practice, a practice sport, and that's what this is all about. So stick on the 3-minute time frame using our Axe trading system. Looking at oil here, which has had obviously a sell-off. All the bad pandemic news, we expect oil to sink down. Peaked at a low of 69, went under $70 a barrel. It's pulled back a little bit this afternoon. It's ranging now, waiting for the API news. Had some mixed divergence, which indicates a range. And we've got a little breakout zone here, our two zones, our green dotted line and our red dotted line, a zone to tell us the range. Price, if price breaks either of these zones, then we're in for a bigger move to our support or resistance. At the moment, RSI is sitting at 37. So I'm going to load up on my broker, which is IC Markets, for those what we use, and that is the best broker, I believe, for scalping. I'm using it for the best part of 4 years now. Good spreads, good leverage, good commissions, you know, pay out, most importantly. I'm not affiliated or anything like that, it's just my personal opinion. So that's oil set up there. We're waiting for the news, which, as we can see, is approaching in about 90 minutes. Have a look to see if there's anything happening in the market at the end. There's some kind of little movements in that last kind of hour. US-30 again, drop for most of the day. As you can see, we caught some little pullbacks here. Got some little pullbacks on the open as well. It's formed a little W, as you can see. Went again here. There's a buy in the last 20 minutes. It's going to be when the RSI goes green and breaks at the same time. Goes to our breakout zone. That's probably going to be as far as price is going to go. You may be looking at 100 points to our KG line, our baseline there, look. So watch that. If not, RSI will reject off the average RSI line here. Come back and we can catch a sell breaking out this points of interest line. Again, we might look at 100 on the drop. We can watch that, and we've been watching silver. So we do trade. You see here, I had this mapped out. Never really took off that leg. We wanted, but it didn't really happen. There was a smaller, you can see. And it's going to a range. And so a little break, and again you can see here, zooming in, we're looking at a buy if we get green RSI and a break up. Again, the first TP is just a little one, just there, look. enough for 36 points. If it goes higher, we're up to our resistance zone of 184 points. So that's if it breaks. And I say this time of day, towards the end of the session, obviously the volume is low, so we expect it could stay in that neutral zone. So one to watch. 30 could be a sell. The Asian, we'll look at the Aussie 200 as well. So size 2, let's see it wick a bit. So get on this. If it clears that wick. In Berg in the background. Always fundamentals, always leading the way, always looking use. And like I say, we've got oil minutes. Crypto, forget that for the moment, as you can see. Oh, yeah, look, everything's had a boost. Everything's gone from red to green, so what we like to say, everything's on the way up.
To adopt such policies, but it joins other cities including Tucson and Sedona in Arizona and Fulda in Germany in their efforts to reduce pollution and increase energy efficiencies. I kind of love this.
Pittsburgh has budgeted 16
Balls as tech wobbles, Fed kicks off. Yes, obviously everyone's waiting for the Fed news tomorrow, the tapering, see if interest rates are going to be moved.
On the street and in public buildings to LEDs. They emit less blue light or short wavelengths that can have a detrimental impact on plants, insects, and other wildlife. It aims to complete the project within 18 to 24 months, but it expects to see the benefits of a dark sky even earlier.
So here's interesting. Since much of the environment's changes are spurred by the sun, excess artificial light can disrupt bird migration patterns or cause trees to turn green too early. It can also confuse the natural 24-day night cycle for humans. We know that. A darker sky has been found to have positive effects on mental health, with stargazing and less blue light playing a part.
Stargazing, that's what I'm talking about.
I know. I always think about this too in their showers, and I look up at.
As I observe investors balance risk and reward, I see one element securing portfolios time after time.
Is this going to drop down a little bit? RSI maybe wants to be, if it gets to 34. Good. Nice little end of session scalp. I'm not looking for a lot, but just looks like they're down a little more. There we go, there's the old Berg index. In Dow Jones only 0.3, so it's still got room to maneuver on down. Size 42. Silver's looking at silver again. It's got a break, hasn't broken yet. Oil, obviously, we're leaving oil alone until the actual news comes out. Silver's doing the same as gold. And this on US-30. If RSI will get to that 33. Decaf coffee. You got to look at it as the candles. Yeah, this is a nice, you had the morning star DOGE indecision candle, then the candle that giving you a direction might change. You've had a previous retest of the neutral support zone, already had a drop outside and a retest again of the RSI. So see if this is a silver and gold, which in a range and out of the picture at the moment. Focus on US-30 and then wait to take this oil trade in about 10 minutes as well. And again, remember US-30 will go the opposite way to the oil news if it's a big enough distance. again, this time of night, it's all about watching, waiting. There's nothing to rush into in slow moving, but still a good time to look at some trades. I remember, if we'd been watching this earlier, we'd have got in here. Look, RSI, it's been green for so long. That's what I like to see when it's one particular direction and then it suddenly switches. Trade tells you to get ready. And then it went red as it broke the RSI neutral line. So here's where you would 100% have got in if we'd been trading, and we'd have gone for points there. That was a real easy no-brainer. Kind of on with that candle. Even if you missed that one and next candle here, that would have been good points. So this one again is a bit more risky because it's a second test, but still, look, if I'd been in, I'd seen that, I'd got in a bit earlier on it. Still, what you look for, and same as with the green, your entry points, you can mark them out. Got in here, candle there, picking on points. Then you could have gone again. You could have waited. You could have been aggressive when you've seen the hidden, say 5 candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could have got in on that. Broke the zone, and then RSI re-entry when it goes bright green hits the 75. There's 3 trades there. Would you have taken this one here? Maybe. Again, candle. I like to see the candle mostly over that KG baseline, and you can see that it's not. It's kind of like 40%, but look, you still would have got over 100 points. It was still a winning trade, even if that was a bit of a gamble. So I'd mark it because it was red. Either got in aggressively on that grey and took profit on the KG line, and then for the sell, as we identified, you'd have got in on that candle there. Then, like you say, we are trying to late to the game, but we'll see. Get in on this here, not off. There were the trades on US-30 that would, smooth, easy. All of them line up. They're all the right side of the baseline. They're the right side of a trend line. They've all broken a neutral support resistance zone, and the RSI has just come out of that neutral zone. So they're the bang on 100% trades you've got to take on this system. If you're just trading with TA, this is outside of news fundamentals, obviously.
It's a really good time to be talking to you ahead of those numbers we're getting tomorrow, and of course, getting an understanding of how things are going as we get, T-minus 11 days until Christmas right now. Give us an idea of expectations for holiday sales and what you're seeing.
Yeah, the expectations are all very positive. Coming out of October, the results were strong. Anticipate the same for November. It's a really strange time to be watching this marketplace and talking to our clients, just because there's so many factors that are simultaneously hitting. We've got, the supply chain issues that we've all heard about. There's COVID, there's inflation, but there's also a really enthusiastic U.S. consumer out there. And even with international travel opening up, a fair amount of international travel on top of that. So the question is not if the number is going to be good. The question is really how good will that number be? And certainly it will be plumped up a bit by the inflation numbers that we're seeing, but nonetheless, we expect to see the trend continuing that started in October with a lot of the earlier buying happening in the market.
What are you hearing from some of your clients that you work with in terms of what's important to the consumer going forward? I mean, we've been trying to get a really good handle, Liz, on are people reassessing, maybe it's not both spouses working and maybe somebody stays at home. So they're reevaluating after the pandemic because there just feels like there's some dislocations certainly happening in the labor market, and maybe not everybody comes back to work post-pandemic. What are you seeing from your clients? And I'm just curious.
30 just doing its usual typical range, look, just hang in Bella High. What we'll do is push down just 50 points. That would do. We don't have to be greedy.
Of money available to a lot of buyers simply because we were so constrained in terms of spending on experiences and travel. So now with that money coming back, even if there is an economic decision in a family to slow down on some of that spend, So I think there's
silver, same as gold, look, ranging away.
That's driving
The API news we're going to be trading. So it affects gold, affects silver. You can trade it on any of those kind of commodities. And trade it on actual oil. Amazing because it doesn't actually show up on oil, as if like it doesn't make a difference to it. But it's kind of crazy how they decide which news events impact which things. Why wouldn't the oil news impact the price of oil in West Texas? But there you go. But it does, we know.
But I think the macro number is going to be
and obviously looking at the chart, you want it to be a sell. You want it to be a bad news so that we get a break down to the $70 a barrel level, or a size stays below. So that was the ideal. Works out.
Yeah, most of the gap between 2019 and 2021, I think, is going to be made whole. What was interesting, I think, is just watching the consumer changing their behavior over the past few weeks. We saw reports of shoppers returning to bricks and mortar locations, partly because of the uncertainty around supply chain. People wanted to know that they had their hands on the gifts they were looking for. They didn't have to worry about, a tanker in the Pacific or, FedEx or UPS delivering. So, I think with that in particular,
watching price action, going to the grey.
2021. If you look at the total
slow moving
for the holidays over the last 4 years, the total
oil
is coming in at a fairly tight range. But with this year, we think with the effects of inflation, as well as the improvements in the economy and higher levels of employment, we're likely to see a record year.
What would surprise, do you think, maybe some of our audience? I think it's a smart audience, it's investors, it's people running companies, it's people from all walks of life, what they might find interesting about the retail environment right now.
Oh my gosh, there's so many interesting things. I think what the big issue that retailers are still working through is the new reality from COVID. You have to remember that everything for retail changed, and we talk a lot about omni-channel and omni-commerce and being able to buy online and return in stores. And I think people would be really interested to hear that is very, very complicated for retailers. And behind the scenes, it takes an incredible amount of manpower. And right now, manpower is pretty scarce. But it takes a lot of effort to make all of that happen for a happy consumer. So I think what we're going to see moving forward, and what we're working with our clients on, is what are the new ways that we can present a brand and have our consumers experience a brand coming out of COVID, coming out of the supply chain problems, that is really going to be very exciting. So whether it's going to be, virtual reality experiences or new ways to experience a product. One thing you have to remember is over the past few years, we've seen astronomical levels of returns. 50% of holiday shipments some years have been returned, and that's not good for retailers, and it's not good for our environment. No. So I would say really interesting solutions to some of these business problems that we're starting to hear about. They're kind of bundled under supply chain. I think it's going to be a really exciting time, not only to be a retailer and a merchandise leader, but also to be a consumer, to see the new ways that our brands are participating in the marketplace.
And Tim, I'm thinking about the NFTs we talked about with Chris Rouser in the retail space and luxury goods, right? Shopping in like the metaverse.
Yeah, thousands of dollars for this virtual representation of a handbag.
Yeah, it's like...
We can all recognize potential.
Getting ready, balance nicely.
That takes us beyond the surface.
About 3 minutes to go.
Opens up entirely new dimensions or possibilities.
Hey, look.
Allowing us to harness
Volume Institute, higher than expected figure, is negative for the US dollar, lower
to put us ahead of the curve.
to be bullish for the USD, and it's the reverse for prices. It should be. The good news should be a buy, bad news should be a sell, but if you're doing the US-30, it should be the opposite. It doesn't always move the US-30, but it moves the pound against the dollar. CAD, USD CAD is a good one. CAD JPY is also a good one for oil, and obviously silver and gold. We'll watch. I'm not going to trade silver on it, but we can see how silver affects. So next time it comes on, which is every week, remember this gets released every week, API and EIA. So it's a regular news event that you can trade, and if you're, want to get into trading fundamentals, and it's a good one to start off with. Point 3 as we come to the end, 3 minutes to go before the end of the session, the closing bell. So we're not going to get anything on the US-30, which is pretty much we thought we might, but we looked, we tried. If the trade's not there, you just don't take it. It's simple. I don't force trades ever. Work with what fundamentals and charts give us, and if it's not a setup, it's not a setup. Countdown, 1 minute to go, so get ready. Let's see what we can get with the oil, finish the day off with. Whichever way it's going to be a slow moving trade. Might not come into fruition until the Aussie, but what we'll do is we'll switch after we've done this. We'll switch to and have a quick look at the Aussie 200. We had good wins on it last night, about $200 worth of wins on Aussie 200 for my Asian setup, so we'll have a look at that, and maybe JP225, the Nikkei as well. Tonight, but we'll just focus on this oil news first. Like I say, it's expected to be worse than expected. It's already kind of costed into the market. We've seen a drop off on oil, like I say, down to that $70 a barrel. So let's see, is it going to be worse than expected? About. Countdown's coming. Here we go. About a minute. Good luck, everybody. In seconds. I'm using a margin of about $350. My margin, £260 on this. Wait and see, could be a slow result. The Westpac consumer confidence as well for the Aussie in 2 hours. So if we do an Aussie trade, we'll wait for that to play out as well. We'll have a look at that in a second. We'll just analyse that in a second. Anyone's not traded it, but again, slow result. This one. It's going to take a few minutes to come out, not an instant. The US-30 is not doing anything. Little spike there, look, it's better than expected. Entry level, screw. You've had a little bit of a boost here, looked like it was better than expected, but not had any significant move yet. There you go, worse than expected, 0.815. See if we get a move.
Bloomberg Interactive Active Broker Studio in New York, Bloomberg 1130.
York.
To Washington, D.C., Bloomberg 99.1. To Boston, Bloomberg 106.1. To San Francisco, Bloomberg 960. To the country, Sirius XM Channel 119. And around the globe, the Bloomberg Business app and BloombergRadio.com. This is Bloomberg Business Week.
You are listening to Bloomberg Business Week. You've got a great story coming up. It's the Bloomberg Big Take on the Bloomberg Terminal.
Yeah, this is a great one. This is about a company that is a Silicon Valley darling, though it's based.
And again, if you're buying from the top of that can.
It's all about free college through tuition assistance at Guild.
Yeah, it's not far off 100. It's at 100.
Yeah. And we hear about this from a lot
Say,
of some various companies and CEOs.
let's fly.
To help their workers.
Watch this now.
Deep dive in just a moment. In the meantime, let's get a deep dive into the market and trading day now that the bell has rung for the day and closed. Hey, Charlie.
Indeed, clang it did, Carol Master. The Dow, the S&P, NASDAQ all lower today, with the S&P slumping another 34 points off session lows, but red on the screen, down 0.7%. The Dow dropped 106 today, down 0.3. NASDAQ tumbled 175, down 1.1%.
Yep.
10-year down 7.30 seconds. 10-year yield 1.43%.
Like I say, if it all goes up, we'll wait for it to peak on the top and then we sell as well. So you can sell the initial news release, or you can wait for the move if it goes in the opposite direction, then catch that, because it's going to come that way eventually. That's how market manipulation works. So yeah, look, we've got to push up, but we'll wait for it to drop.
Another report today showed inflation running hot sank some of the most expensive pockets of the stock market. Well, as for today's selling, Jimmy Lee, CEO at Wealth Consulting Group, and he was our guest. Right,
like I said, it's a slow moving one.
Getting a little bit of a pullback.
Your stop loss is going to be above here, the breakout zone anyway.
Is something I think is very expected, and what I think will continue to happen.
This is what it's going to be.
Throughout this year, is that investors buy on the dip, and of course, we really haven't had any large dips yet. We haven't had a real correction, and if we did, I think that
what are you looking for?
Would go heavy, and especially into the sectors, I think.
Some of the stories that we're following, JP Morgan Chase will require vaccines.
And look at US-30. Didn't really do anything.
Its headquarters at 383 Madison Avenue. That mandate.
Expect now it's the dead zone now.
According to an internal memo seen by
Silver not doing anything, reacting really anything to it.
A full inspection of every branch in China after undercover reporters discovered staff in 2 of its outlets using expired ingredients. Starbucks shares lower today by 0.7%.
Nice.
Commercial printer R.R. Donnelley & Sons has been acquired by.
I won't be going to Starbucks in Shanghai anytime soon then.
Transaction. 6 current and former employees at Tesla
amazing.
Lawsuits alleging rampant workplace sexual harassment only weeks after another woman from the electric car maker's factory in Fremont, California, leveled similar accusations. Amtrak says it will not reduce service on long-distance routes in 2022, which it previously planned, due to an expected shortage of workers when its vaccine mandate takes effect. And New York's COVID-19 hospitalizations have jumped 70% since the Thanksgiving holiday, prompting officials and businesses alike to reassess their policies in an attempt to blunt a winter virus surge and the onset of the new Omicron variant. I'm Charlie Pellet. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Thank you so much, Charlie. So, how to get rich sending low-income workers to college. I have to say, Tim, I read that headline on this story, and it says so much.
Yeah, I couldn't stop reading it once I started this story. It's a fantastic piece in Bloomberg Markets. John Heckinger is features editor for Bloomberg Markets. He joins us on the phone from Boston. John, this story all about Guild Education and the 33-year-old founder of this company that's based in Denver. First of all, for people who aren't familiar with Guild Education, it's a company that works with Walmart, Disney, Chipotle, other companies as well. What's
Chipotle.
So, I mean, that's right. They
leave that oil running, as you can see.
Broker for higher education.
Silver, we'll leave that alone now. So let's look at Oz 200.
With education
got like 30 minutes for the Oz 200 kicks off. Obviously, we hit our TP last night, as you can see. So keep that on the chart because we could use that. I just want to load up and see where we are in the actual bigger picture on the Aussie indices, because I've not really done analysis on them tonight. So let's have a quick look to see where we are. We're expecting, because last night it was a bit of a range. what we got there. We hit TP. That's what it's all about. Let's load up. See, again, it's still saying we're still cautious. We're looking for a drop. Same position as last night, really, on the Aussie.
The company says that it hasn't been around
For this to break.
They will eventually, but we've also spoke to some
Flat.
of their employees.
I mean, you can go to here, but there's the flat part. Look, so there's the next line to TP. You measure that out. You're going to break the support zone.
We'll talk about
Then
that in
you're
just a second.
talking
It's worth
600 points. So,
here. So, according to a recent study of roughly
On
56,000
the sell.
Walmart workers who participated in the tuition assistance program created with Guild, only about 400 of those Walmart workers have earned a bachelor's or associate's degrees. That's since 2018. So you said that the company
Look,
has and
600
Rachel Carlson has said that it's too early to gauge graduation rates.
200.
What has been
Sell when it opens, so we can
that is holding them back?
have a look at pending order even. If you want to. Not going to trade it live. So we've had good success with the Aussie 200 this week, including last. Obviously with my IC markets, even though Sydney kicks off at 10, IC markets don't let you trade it. It doesn't kick off straight away, so you have to set a pending order. I don't like doing pending orders, everyone knows that, but you have to with this one, especially if it's a sell stop, and you've got to allow the spread of it as well, which is
the same problems you see in
fine.
mental health care or social welfare. I mean,
But the thing is, it's not about, it's the direction of the market. You've mapped out you can take 60, but you don't have to take all that. I mean, that's 60 pips.
Is that the real problem?
I'm going to set at 50. And that's still going to get me 2 trades, of £3 if it hits TP. So placed 2 trades, which I've done. Even though I'm setting TP here, I'm trying to get out earlier because I've got spreads to incorporate as well. I'd say work it all out. So stop loss, of course, is going to be either a KG line here, but that's very tight. I would suggest a stop loss wants to be either this line here or more likely the blue line, where price hasn't already retested. There's always a chance price can retest and then come back down. So ideally you want to be where it's not gone before, new zone, so above here. If your account can stand it, that's what I would be looking at. Of this area here, just kind of real safe zone. This is your cautious zone. This is your uber. I'm going to get spiked. This is where people make mistakes, you see, and obviously get spiked out. You want to avoid that and that. You want to be up here somewhere. Stop loss if we're taking this trade. So that's that one set. And let's have a look at the Nikkei. Let's have a look at 225 tonight. I'm feeling fruity on this actually. Oil, by the way, is actually just dipped down, like you can see. We're actually in profit on that trade at the moment. So and leave that running while we look at the JP 225. Got what we got. Nikkei. Yay, looking good. Sell off. Push back up, looking to bounce off our trend lines. Quite a good setup actually. There. Area. Look for profit. Obviously, first TP can be the KG line there, or you can set it just below. Yeah, it's the opposite of what I said on Oz, because you expect price to retest where it's been. 1, 2, 3, 4 times already, as you can see. The chance it'll hit it again and then decide to drop or break on up. We're just going to catch that move. Whole idea anyway. So you're looking at 250 to be on the safe side. Way to do it. Look. Points.
It's an incredible story, and it really does.
Post all these setups in the group so people can follow on demo, or just by watching or go live.
John Hankinger, thank you so much for sharing some time with us. Features editor at Bloomberg Markets on the phone from Boston. You're listening
I'm
to
gonna set that
Bloomberg
one
Business
up.
Week. This is Bloomberg Radio.
Radio.
Well, speaking of colleges,
Oh, we've hit target. Oh, there we go. There we go. We're done on oil. Oh, thank you. There you go. Live. We hit TP.
Of higher education, and she's got a story out there.
Nice win on oil.
Colleges embrace a post-SAT future.
All done.
Pandemic necessity. Having recently gone through the college application process with my daughter for
On.
the first time, we basically got rid
So
of SAT.
there you go. Just shows you. See, a little bit of waiting around, and then we were there. And what did we get? For a set of a trade up. I didn't even see what I got there. Sorry, just let me have a look. I did 3 trades, and we got 337.80s, so $50 each. So.
20 years too early for this to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting. And she says high school.
Job done. There you go. Who says you can't scalp at the end of the session?
The school isn't requiring them. Columbia said last month it won't require scores from students who are now sophomores or juniors joining Cornell and Amherst College. And the 280,000 student University of California system has declared no testing for all freshmen who may apply to its 10 campuses.
So optional, does that mean that there's sort of extra credit? Like
Yep, you can hold for more and all the rest of it and everything, but that's great. You know, that's $150 in what we were talking. What's that? 13 minutes. There you go. On a slow moving market.
There were lots of questions that
was a nice win.
I know my daughter went through with, her college
Shows
advisory
you
team at her high school. It's like,
how the market moves
should you
with
do
it.
it if you did it? Like,
Perfect.
are you penalized? Is it a helpful metric? And I guess my question is to universities and schools, like, would you really still like to see it? Is it a nice dividing line for you when you're deciding, especially when you get thousands and thousands and thousands of applications?
How do you separate the applicants? How do you?
What's more important? What's really important then?
Right.
Nice trade, nice and smooth, nice candle, might break out more, you know. Again, you can re-enter the sell if you hits the 25, but you know, for me it's on the trend line, could bounce, could do anything, doesn't matter. You've got that 100 points, and that's what you want to look for in all trading the news. Like I say, on your account size, you know, I was using a $350 margin account, so that's it's about $2,500 account, and I get 150, so I get, you know, best part of 10%, you know, 8% on one trade, so that's pretty good going. Just shows you can do it, you know, and it's as stress free as you can get. I'm not saying they always hit target, I'm not saying they always go the right way, but on the majority of the times they do, if you enter at the right time and know when to get out, not to hold. I mean, yeah, look, it's broken, it's gone further. Oh, you know, bad is me because I could have held. Doesn't matter, I took the win. And I'm more happy that my analysis is right. You said it looked good for a setup for the sell. That's what's happened. So now we'll see if we can do the same with the old AP225. I mean, you could take profit just here. You know, that's your first level, which is about 100 points. Look. And then you can push up and 228 because it could bounce off the trend line back down and back up again. So it all depends. Have a look, because I'm only going to do these 2 setups tonight. I'm not going to do the Hong Kong, China. So I'm going to trade these. It's a buy stop. See, it's not live, so you can't market price it. And on a buy stop. Margin on this is again about 350. It's about the same again. Yeah, you know, $2,000 account, you can use it. So got a bit of a bigger spread. We're going to look for, going to be really, just go for the 100. I mean, I get about $25 if 100 points on it, especially with the spread. I'm going to pull that and go 200 on the safe side. in as well. See if that gets anywhere near target in the next 10 minutes. See, the JP is running now on 200 about there, so I'm expecting a little spike up. Look back at oil. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful trade. RSI goes 25. We sell again. It's just slow. That's all this time of night. The analysis, the way you look at the axe system, the way you look at the fundamentals in conjunction with it, is all the same. It's just slow motion. Just that. See what I was talking about. It was, you know, quite a bit worse than expected.
Headlines and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com.
We've got this Aussie news later on.
This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
US-30, like I said, they done anything and said we'll wait for it to come back down. If it breaks below, you know, it goes red, then it's another sell. Yep, so this,
another report showed inflation running hot. That sank some of the most expensive pockets of the U.S. stock market. Nasdaq down 1.1% today, down 175 points. The Nasdaq 100 index down 1% today. S&P tumbled 34, down 0.7. The Dow dropped 106, lower by 0.3%. 10-year down 7/30 seconds. 10-year yield 1.43%. Spot gold down 0.9%, 17.70 the ounce. West Texas Intermediate crude oil down 1.4%, 70.26 a barrel. I'm Charlie Pellet. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
All right, Charlie, got it. You are listening to Bloomberg Business Week. Carol Master along with Tim Stanovic. Well, late last month, we talked with Ali Goldstein, L'Oreal Paris USA president, and we talked about a lot of things, but in particular about the company's Women of Worth program, which highlights women who are agents of change. One of those women joins us now. She's L'Oreal Paris USA Women of Worth honoree, Brianna Daniel of Street Team Movement, and she joins us in our Bloomberg Interactive Broker studio wearing a Women of Worth or Worth It hat. Welcome. Congratulations on being part of this group.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Well, it's really remarkable about the women that are always honored by L'Oreal. And often it's women who have experienced something, gone through something, and then thinking about how to be truly an agent of change and reach a wider community. Tell us about Street Team Movement and how this movement came to be. What was the moment?
Oh, man. So Street Team Movement is a nonprofit organization that provides hygiene to the homeless community through vending machines. So they're able to access the hygiene items for free to them through a card that is called the Hope Card. It's registered to our homeless friends.
AP225. Oh, it's had a nice little bump up.
Which is 3 either hygiene pouches a week. They can
see if it's going to get anywhere near.
And take it and get
I'll get
load of laundry washed and dried all through the vending machine as well. So the moment
about here, look.
Street Team Movement, it was just after college for me, and I moved to near downtown Orlando, and I realized that the homelessness was a problem. It was something that was just staring me right in the face, and then I decided to take action, and I actually lived on the streets homeless for 32 days to actually understand what the homeless were experiencing, what their struggles were, but most importantly, what did they need, and how we can best meet those needs.
Wow, it's incredibly powerful because a lot of people who work with people who are unhoused don't actually go through and have that experience, let alone have that experience for more than a month. What specifically did you learn about people and like you said, our friends who are unhoused?
She goes green and pushes out of that zone that's on 54.
At least in the metro downtown Orlando area, there were a lot of food services that were being provided. One of the things that we noticed is that people would literally stop their car and just have, groceries in their car, and they just give them out. There's so many good intentioned people and good-hearted people, and that was something that I really noticed that was great. But I think I also realized is that consistent programming was something that was needed specifically for hygiene. There was no one that was out there providing laundry services. We didn't have consistent access to showers. There was something that was it was a gap. So street team movement ultimately did become a gap filler because we saw a need and we went in there and just dominated it.
Brianna, I always think people often think, well, the solution is put people in shelters or have them to shelters, and that's how they do it. But there's a lot of people who don't, because a lot of times shelters aren't a great place to be.
They're not a great place to be, especially for our homeless women with children. There are oftentimes people with criminal records in there. There's oftentimes people that are they're pedophiles in there, and it's tough. First, being in the situation of being homeless, but also trying to protect your family, trying to protect the innocence of your kids. So oftentimes, you're led to make tough choices when you're out on the streets, especially as a woman.
Talk a little bit about the women of worth and being an honoree there, because as Carol mentioned, when we did speak to the folks from L'Oreal just a couple of weeks ago, we learned about this amazing network of people who come together. And in the more than 15 years that L'Oreal has been doing this, it sort of turned into this idea of staying in touch with this amazing group of women and people all over the country who
US-30, that's rising.
Absolutely, and you use the correct word, Tim. It's the network.
Yeah, and you want to be taken a buy once it breaks this zone. If it breaks this zone here and RSI is still green, then your trigger is the price action over the RSI. Because when the RSI is between these two zones, it's a bit of a danger dead zone, because yeah, it's green, but it could dip, could go up, dip, could range along. So what determines whether you enter a trade or not is where price action is. And if price action has broken a key level and your RSI is still green, then take the trade. If on the other hand, at the same time RSI is like moving along, ranging, and price action is also ranging, not breaking a key level, you don't take a trade. If RSI goes up but price action isn't breaking this zone, why were you taking a buy? You need it to be together. So, and vice versa. If price action is ranging along this zone, then RSI goes into the 75, then you take the trade again, because you're going to get a little push.
A lot of questions, but more so came from a place of just ignorance. I didn't know what I didn't know. And there were people that were willing to come alongside me and help me, let me know what time certain organizations are coming out and they're providing food, or which shelters are providing showers, what day is this happening, when is someone doing haircuts or anything, so they really were able to come in and let me know the ropes, so to say, while I was out there. And it was incredibly scary, especially being a single woman on the streets.
Because you were there at night?
Yes, I didn't sleep. I want to say the first 2.5 days. I didn't sleep until I found a place to actually sleep. So it was really great in theory until it gets dark and downtown is completely deserted, and it's just you standing there with a backpack and no plan. And that's when it becomes completely real to you that you have some choices to make. And thankfully I ended up finding a really safe place to sleep during the rest of the time that I was out there. But it was incredibly scary.
What did you learn about? Look, this is a crisis happening throughout our country. What are some messages for policymakers about understanding the homeless population and how we can actually combat it?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And that was actually one of the biggest struggles for us our first years with Street Team Movement, Inc. And it was speaking to our policymakers and letting them know that what we provide as hygiene is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Yep. And I remember standing in a council meeting.
It's amazing that you even have to say that, right?
It was so insane. And I said, okay, show of hands, who showered today? And every hand went up. And I said, stop showering. If it's such a luxury, just stop doing it. You can't, because you need to do it. You have to brush your teeth. There's things that you need to have access to. And it's not just a health issue. It's not
in US-30, you're not going to take a buy till that's broken, or leave that one alone. In the dead zone, JP, let's wait for the Asian session to push. Oh, it's looking good though. It's looking good for a hold the buy.
There's hope for a brighter tomorrow, not just the situation that you're in.
Oil again, broke our target, and now look, you see, if you were holding it, this is where you get out. The good thing about our X trading system is telling you just get out, and then if it breaks this zone and the zone stays, then you take the sell next down to the next key level, which would be 25. At the moment, don't do anything. Great having this when it comes in right on our breakout zone, telling you if you did hold this, there's your time to end the trade. And I do that as soon as I see it flash. I'm gone. I'm out of the trade if I ever hold.
Okay, so working with cities
But that was
and
good.
states to maybe hopefully be a part of this?
Absolutely. And it's completely free to our homeless friends.
Great stuff. Stay in
I remember we were just talking about the news before we came on air.
Thank you so
Got
much.
this
Congratulations. It's really
confidence
amazing.
index.
Daniel. She is
Again, you can have a look at.
Street Team Movement, founded it, is doing
It says
this
higher than
work
expected
with
figures,
Scalpers,
positive for the
you know,
Aussie dollar,
honorees.
blah blah blah, and it's looking at being 106. Already
Coming up with a solution
costing to be better.
people's worlds.
So this could push the Aussie 200 up,
30 days homeless.
And that's how you can see
which is fine because
We
Yeah.
all come into this world with
we're out of the trade by then. We'll see.
and the more of it we can tap into, the more we
Keep an eye on that. So we're not triggered a trade yet on the Aussie. Anyway,
the potential in
if it does be a buy, you just not trigger your trade. You know, it's the only advantage of a pending order, I suppose.
no matter how ambitious.
Just don't like them.
Get your share of progress.
But even I have to sleep,
Invest in something
even though as much as I love trading. Yeah, we've had a good day today. Just we've not gone super crazy today. Done counting them up. Oh, 23 trades today and 2 losses. And the losses were on gold, which was 46 pence, which is about less than $1. And we took a loss on an earlier oil buy of £2.65, which is about $4. So we lost about $5 out of 26 trades. And you know, there you go. We're in profit again. Another successful day on a kind of a low key day, really. You know, there's really nothing major to trade. I was going to do the PPI, and I kind of used that as the momentum to trade the open rather than actually trading the news. Sometimes you don't have to trade everything. You know, tomorrow is a better day. Obviously, we've got this is why I'm not trading the China 50, especially with pending orders, because you've got all this news at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. unless you're going to be up. It could be a nightmare. I don't really know much about how. I know retail sales, how they affect, but the rest of it I don't really know. There's a lot of news there, so you just avoid it. Same as the Aussie Homes news, which is 3 a.m. Again, we'll not be trading then. The interesting tomorrow is the inflation. This is for the pound, for the UK 100. This is all going to be pre-market, so we can decide if I get up in time, which you have to do. You know, you should be up at 6 ideally. Trade into late, job done. 8:10. That usually should be. I'm lazy. I've got lazy. Some, you know, when I'm back in Asia, obviously I'll be trading those times. It'd be easier. But anyway, 7 here. You can decide to go opposite the news depending on the result. So if the news is worse than expected, you buy, and then obviously you go the opposite on the actual London Open an hour later. Doesn't always play out because it depends how bad the news is. You know, if the news is around the expected figure, then yes, do the opposite. If it's severely, you know, way better or way worse, then obviously the news might well just actually go that way. You've always got to be cautious of that. That's why I never go stupid lot sizes on reverse trading the news. And then we've got inflation news for the French and the Italian, which may impact. Yeah, it's just after the market opens or just around. The big one tomorrow is obviously US retail sales. You've got export. We've got the NY Empire State Manufacturing Index, which I like. Then we've got retail sales, ex gasoline, and then we've got oil again. Look, we've got EIA gasoline stocks change again in the afternoon this time, so we'll trade that. We've got the housing index. And then we've got the big one, what everyone's waiting for, the Fed rate. So this is where we can catch some real volatile moves tomorrow, maybe. And the yearly projections as well. Then you've got interest rates, projection, and then the Fed conference. So so much news tomorrow, all US. We'll be doing a live stream for a lot of this, hopefully. That's a quick rundown. JP look is about to hit that first level, as you can see. Look, nice, beautiful, nice buy, as I said. US-30 it's hanging on. And again, getting that, the doji spike.
From Kraken CEO Jesse Powell and Coinbase investor Gary Tan.
So we go.
All that in a moment, but first let's get a look at the markets where all investors have their eyes on inflation. Our Ed Ludlow here with more. Ed, take it away.
Yeah, that's certainly a story.
So,
broad selling pressure across US equities, but tech was the worst performing sector, and that's largely because that's where we see the most stretched valuations, right? We have a Fed meeting on Wednesday. Producer price index came in hot for the month of November. The expectation, therefore, that the Fed is going to accelerate the pace of tapering and therefore a steeper curve on rate rises. You see that playing out with underperformance in the NASDAQ 100, very tech-heavy index. Really, the mega caps were where the brunt of pain were in the NYSE FANG Plus index, although oddly enough, Emily, we saw them pair some of those losses and close down 0.3%. Semiconductors continuing to be under pressure. There's a pattern emerging here. Come with me into my Bloomberg and look at this chart, because over the last 2 weeks, the NASDAQ 100, a tech-heavy index, has fallen 7 times. That's the red bars you see on the far right-hand side. What's really interesting is that when it rains, it pours. Each time the NASDAQ 100 has fallen, it's been by more than 1 percentage point. So investors really trying to make sense of what's going on in this market, positioning themselves to...
So you know that, we know that anyway. We know that when NAS moves and breaks a key zone, it moves and it stays. And catching pullbacks on NAS is very hard. You've really got to try and go with the trend, which is what we try and do.
Microsoft down more than 3%. Oddly,
As
Meta, the parent of Facebook, doing pretty well, and
you can see there, look,
some of its peers in recent days, not
you're trying to catch a few little pullbacks, but very hard. Way to do this is sell here, look, sell here, another sell here, another sell there. Said, there's your buy. Just grab that. Again, there wasn't a buy there. Then there was a sell here, look, a re-entry here, nice buy here, cheeky sell there, nothing there, sell here, nothing, then there's your nice buy here. Sell didn't really happen. Yeah, you might have been close on that one to entering, but and then you get the buy, bang, buy, then wait, bounce off there. You could buy again if you wanted. So plenty of opportunities in the X trading system where you could get in. A lot like that. Then
and then on the delivery side, delivery is incredibly sticky. It's a great experience, and we're adding grocery experience to it as well. So the delivery business is
these ones will just automatically enter. Then if you get a bounce below the average and it comes back again, look, you can take that trade again. Look at the candle, it goes grey, rejects off our breakout zone, goes green above, take the buy. RSI has gone your way and now it's just ranging. So there you go, look, in each one of those we went for 100 points, bang, easy. Again, easy. Yes, there's more, but just keep that level. Again, another 100, easy. Key level breaks. You don't break, wait, you ignore that candle, ignore that one, you could get on this one. And on this one, you know, there's so many opportunities here, and then you definitely get on this, you definitely got on that one. So,
delivery audience growth of 25% on a year-on-year basis. We're seeing frequency
buy on there, look, broke above the zone. Breakout candle, look at that, candle is bigger than the last 12, 13 candles. So you want to be taking that buy on this one, knowing it's going to break. Or get to that zone at least. You know, gets to there, it's going to spike up. Look, there's your 100 points, look. See? Something that looks like it's an iffy trade, it's not, because you're giving yourself the best option by working out where you're going to get out the trade. So there was, you know, five, 6 trades there going against what Bloomberg are telling you there. Overall, it's a drop, and that's just a minor pull. You can see here, look, here's the fell off.
Higher than pre-pandemic levels today. Same thing in Latin America.
When you zoom out, see, just a minor correction, as I said, towards the end of the day. And you want to learn how to trade it, this is how you trade it.
Travel's trailing a bit, as you would expect, but the pattern that we see over and over again is as cities open up, as countries open up.
So there we go. So we're just Going to be in buys for the JP225. We're looking at a couple of sales on the Aussie 200 if it kicks off. We're looking for sales on the US-30 if that happens, which I'll be doing while I'm just drink down me.
All-time records in terms of mobility bookings. I'll make that prediction.
So let's post that just to keep.
All-time records next year in mobility.
Yes.
Omicron, though, the threat is rising here and around the world. Are you seeing any impact? Is it impacting airport rides? And honestly, how worried are you?
So we are not seeing any kind of an impact in our business as we speak. Again, last week was an all-time high for our mobility business. This is an uncertain world, and I think we as a company now, because of the global nature of the business, some countries open up, some countries might be closing down, etc. On average, the world is getting better. The efficacy of our virus, of our meds are getting better, vaccines are getting better, treatments are getting better. The world now, on average, is handling the virus better, and as a result, that shows up in our mobility business. I think the second factor for us is the delivery business is now bigger than mobility. When we went into the pandemic, the delivery business was about a quarter the size of the mobility business, wasn't yet profitable. And
Good to see all this and listen to what companies say and everything here.
I would say trends that we pointed out to our investors is that
Nice winning trade again on oil. What we came on to do. AP225 is looking good. Good. We're in profit on this already. If it breaks this line later on,
incremental profits. So
there you go.
And I couldn't say that coming into the
so I'd just like to say thank you again for joining me on the live stream. Quick hour stream. This is what I'm trying to do. So we get in, get out, do a couple of trades, or just one trade, doesn't really matter this time of night. And the session is slower. And think, breathe a bit more. The setups are still there. You just got to wait for them to come to you and don't force them. And it gives you more time to analyze the market and the charts, and especially if you're using our AX system, more time just to analyze that and zoom in on things like the RSI breaks and the level breaks as well. So it's a great time to practice your trading when on demo or live. So thanks again for joining me, and please hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Share it, tell people about our true scalping system and fundamental trading, what we do. And we will do another stream tomorrow with all that news. It's going to be a great day, hopefully. So until then, trade safe, and obviously more importantly, stay safe at the moment. And let's hope we don't have any lockdowns in the UK. So yeah, catch you all tomorrow, and nice one. Take care all. See you later.